I got a really great video for you today regarding Cain. And Cain is a mystery when it comes to the Bible, but it really, you really need, there's information here that you can get, and it's very fascinating because it's hidden information, but you have to pull it out of this Bible. And I'm not going to use the book of Enoch. I'm just going to go by the Bible, and I'm going to tell you some things about Cain you never heard before. And if you want to learn about this or about Cain and the mysteries of Cain and what happened and who was Cain, this is the video for you. And it's a must if you study this book and you want to know our origin, because it's a hidden thing. And the hidden things are coming out now in this time. So let's get started right now. It says right here, and Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch. Canok is how you say the name. And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Canok. Okay, I'll stop right there. Information. I'm going to show you. You got to know what is the city? What are they talking about? Because this city is significant biblical city that the Bible's based upon it. You'll be surprised. The Bible is based upon this city right here. The Old Testament and Israel is based upon this city right here. I'm going to prove it to you today. Right here. What is the name of the city? Okay. Let's first look at the name of Enoch. Enoch. Right here. This name Enoch. How do you say this name? Canok. You see? Con. All right, Cain. This is the name he saved the city that he built. This is the name of the city. Okay. Now, they said that he's going to name the city after his son. So the city that's named after Enoch or Canok is going to have the name in there. Okay, it's going to have that name. Let's see what the name of the city is. Let's go here. Let's look at the name of Canaan. Okay, Canaan. Okay, now this is the city right here, the land of Canaan. Canaan. He divided. So the land of Canaan, which was named after Enoch, but this is something that people don't realize. The name Canaan or the Canaanite. This is not from. See, this name Canaan is from the Ham and his son, but that's not where the city comes from. The name Canaan comes from the land that divided. Comes from this name. Okay. Canaan. So when you look at the name, that in this book it says that the city he built and called the name of the city after the name of his son, Canok. So the name is Canaan. Canaan is the name of the city. I can prove it to you right here. It is Canaan. So the city of Canaan in the Bible, the one that they gave after the inheritance is literally right here. The land that they divided is from the land of the first Enoch of the Bible, Canaan. Okay, so when you got that information, you got to digest that information because it changes the narrative. This whole line right here changes the narrative of the Bible. Okay, you have to know that city is called Canaan. And once you know that, then we can proceed. Because now he has some sons here. You have to know the names are similar to the other names, like Lamech. But what I want to tell you, I want to pick it up here on verse 20 here. And Ada bare Jabal, and he was the father of such that dwelled in tents. This is another misconstrued verse. They think, oh, in tent. You picturing some guy living in a tent. No. That's not what they're telling you here. That's not this city. That's not this great city. This are telling you is this word here, tents, is pillars. Pillars. Okay. Now, when you go into the book and you look at the words and you look at the Hebrew, And here it is. And bore Ada, Jabal. He was the father of those who dwell in tents. This word tents, this is the reason why people can't read this book, is because they put these words in there, but you have to get the narrative of what they're talking about. This is the ones that have side pillars. And the reason why I say that, in a side pillar, you have to understand that you have to take that out and put pillars, side pillars. Now, what? And you say, well, what do you mean? Why? Well, this is the reason why. That word tent, it could be, but this is regarding pillars, because the structures that Canaan built were out of stone and structures. Now, if you look at Jabal in Aramaic, it's featured art. See, Jabal often feature architectural elements like pillars. It tells you right here, Jabal. Like if you even just research the name Jabal, you would know that it's cities regarding pillars. Pillars. These pillars, side pillars. Okay, side pillars. When you look at these buildings with these side pillars, these buildings they had pillars. Okay, pillars. So when you go back into Genesis and you look at dwell in tent, now these are buildings with pillars. Because when Israel, when they went into the land of Canaan, okay, there was mansions and buildings they didn't build, and there was castles there. Because in the book it said it wasn't just a barren land. You have to know that the Canaan had these type of structures in there, and it tells you in this book that when they went into Canaan, those buildings existed, and they didn't build them; they took them over. But it wasn't; they didn't go in there and just get a bunch of tents. No, it has nothing to do with tents. It has nothing to do with tents. Nothing to do with tents. These are buildings of pillars. Okay, Canaan had buildings of pillars. Okay, now, and his brother was named Jubal, and he was the father of such as handled the harp and organ. Now we're getting into something that is hidden, because what he's telling you is frequencies and hydraulics is what he's telling you. Okay, now when you look at these words, the harp. First of all, the word harp. Is it really in there? Is it really in there? The word is, when you look at that word, it's this word, lyre. See it? See this word? That is the word. I know it means harp, but when you start to research, just like here, see right here is the verse. Who played the lyre? See, they put the right word in here when you look at the word, but now they got harp and then lyre. See how they changed the word harp. You think, oh, it's some guy with a harp, but what are they really telling you? What are they really telling you? Is it a musical instrument? Yeah, it could be, but it's a frequency generator is what they're telling you. It's frequencies, okay? And they found these things, and it produces bell-like tones. Look at this, bell-like tones. Now, you have to know they destroyed all the bells. If you don't know they destroyed all the bells and the tones that they can generate, because they're only after bell-like tones, because it is frequency. After all, it is the frequency of these things that they were after. And this book here was telling you about the frequencies that they generate and how they generate them. And you know that the bells are made of what are the bells made out of? They're made out of iron. Okay, iron. Now we're going to get to that, because bells, even you have to have iron. The organ too. Now you look at what organ, like the organ is made from pipes. Okay, and it's made from it's an instrument made with pipes. Well, pipes are steel. Okay, pipes are steel. Okay, and these pipes are the beginnings of pneumatics, and there's a father of pneumatics. Okay, so they're telling you about their technology here, their technology that they had in such a way. So not only did they have buildings with pillars, they had this type of technology. Okay, now look here. It says, and Zillah also there, Tubal Cain, was very important because he's an instructor of every artificer of brass and iron. Okay, in other words, the makers of this. So everyone came from Canaan and the Canaanite. Okay, they were the artificers of brass and iron. Okay, this was very important because when he was, now if we look at these buildings, let's look at the word Cainite. Okay, Cainite, because it is a Cainite. Now when you look at the word Cainite, I just want to break this down because in my other videos, you got to look at some of my other videos where Cain came from. Okay, and I told you he was he's Yahweh's son. Okay, Yahweh's son. But when you look at these books, like in the secret book of John, okay, Cain is identified with Yahweh and evil brother of Abel. Okay, and the evil brother of Abel identified with the Elohim. Okay, they're identified with the Elohim. And the Apocalypse of Adam found in the Nag Hammadi library. Okay, now this was found in Dead Sea Scrolls. Okay, also portrays Cain as the son of Yarabatha, entirely negatively. So he's a son. So Cain is the son of this. Just like now, you look at this. Who is this? Who is this? If you read here, it says otherwise known as, and they got these names, and malevolent god and demiurge according to the various Gnostic sects. Okay, lion-headed serpent, a false god who keeps the souls trapped in physical bodies. Now look at that. So when I told you that Cain was made from Yahweh, and Yahweh, he's not. Yahweh is just a deity, but he's not like people think he's the upper top deity. No, not according to the Bible. Now, Yahweh has a lot of people that he uses and he takes, and he bought them according to the Bible. He bought them, and he has. He's just a lesser god. So I just wanted to show you that. So when you look at, you got to get out of Yahweh being, how they taught you in Sunday school and about everything. Yahweh. You have to research Yahweh. You want to read these books, you must research Yahweh and find out who he was. His father Cain. Okay, and when they went out and they built this city. Okay, and now. Now, he went and built the city. He's there. Now, I'm not going to go into the book of Enoch and tell you about this word Enoch and how you read the book of Enoch. And I'm gonna make other videos about who Enoch and how they have two different Enochs. And you got to know what Enoch you're talking about, because that's another mystery. What Enoch you're talking about. Okay, now let's look at. Remember, I told you he was the chariots of iron. Okay. Right here. Let's go into Joshua and let's get the breakdown. Okay, it says right here, and all the Canaanites that dwell in the land of the valley had chariots of iron, both they who are of Beth Shean and her towns. Okay. So now the Canaanites, which are the people of the city of Enoch. Okay, they have chariots of iron. So this bears testament right here when you go to Genesis. These are the ones with iron. These are the instructor and the makers of everything have to do with iron. And they had cities. And this is the city they're in, without a doubt. Enoch had the city of Canaan. Okay, and this is the city, and they have chariots of iron because they use iron. Okay, everything. This is advanced. These are advanced people here on what I'm trying to say. Now, once they went to that city, when Yahweh takes Cain and puts him, and you got to look at my other videos. He takes Cain and puts him in the land of Nod. He said he takes him off the face of the earth. He puts him face of the earth that they have, and he puts him in another land. And he calls the land Nod, and that's where he built the city. That's where Enoch built the city. But when they built the city of Canaan, okay, look at this right here. When they finally went, God gave, the story about how God gave the city of Canaan. He wanted to take it back. He wanted to take the inhabitants out and kill them. He didn't like what they were doing there. He wanted to bring in other people into the city. The very son in the city that they had, and they were taught everything about iron and all these technologies. Now they're going to be like gods, and they knew it. Yahweh knew it. They were getting too advanced. They will eventually have to battle the people of Canaan. They're going to have to battle them. So now Yahweh, which was an Elohim, a lesser Elohim, and the father of Cain and the father of these people, realizes now that he's going to have to fight the very same people, because the people of Canaan did not follow the Lord in his ways. They knew who the Lord was. They knew who Yahweh was. They knew he was. That's why Yahweh wants to take a people like Israel that he can be a God to, and show him he's a God and fool them actually that he's a God, and that's exactly what he did. Now he's going to go after the city, and he put these other people in there, try to anyway, or destroy the city, or with that his grandsons built. And look at this. It says right here, and the Lord was with Judah, and he drave out the inhabitants of the mountain, right here. But he could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley, because they had chariots of iron. Look at that. And the Lord was with them. That word Lord is Yahweh. So Yahweh's with them. Yahweh's with Judah. He's with them. Okay, this is supposed to be the Creator is with Judah, but they could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley because they had chariots of iron. Look at this. So all of Canaan's chariots of iron were too much for the Lord with this best tribe of his Israel, the strongest tribe. They could not drive. They were no match for the ones with iron chariots. I mean, you gotta look at this book, man. You gotta look at this book. So now you have a city in this book that now is Canaan. And it came from Enoch, and it changes everything. It changes everything, because the very people that Yahweh takes, Israel, the people he bought according to the book, he said, I will be your God and you will be my people. And he brought them into the so-called wilderness and killed them all. He killed every last one of them. And he took their offspring, and then he by starving to death pretty much, he convinced them that he was God and they better worship this God or they will die. And that's who you got today. But these people are going into these lands of Canaan, and people think they went in there and took it over all at once, but that's not true according to this book. It's over time they're going to go in and infiltrate their land and take it over. In the beginning it was with war, but after a while, once they got a foothold in there, they started using a different war tactic by strategically taking over with getting in power and money and wealth and making laws so they can advance their people. Okay, Yahweh's people, Israel. But the city of Canaan, or the Canaanite, is not about Ham's son, Canaan. That's not where the origin of the city came from. It came from here, the ones that had iron chariots, the ones that had pipes, hydraulics, frequencies, everything. They had, and they built buildings with pillars. Okay, so now you see the remnants of all these buildings. They want to tell you that a lot of these buildings now, they were built in the 1800s, but these were old buildings from these cities. And I could tell you that when you look at where the promised lands are. I'm going to tell you, I know it's in my other videos, but the promised land is the land of the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Perizzite. And you look at America, it is America. And yeah, Canaanite is the land of the Canaanite, and the Perizzite is the land of the Perizzite. So, it's interesting to know how they got this name, Christopher Columbus, Column, and they got Columbia, District of Columbia. The word column is in there. The District of Columbia, the word column is in there because it was the column is the same thing as the pillar, and that column is the ancient word, column, Columbia. It's everything points to this son of Cain, which is Enoch, and the city, Canaan, and like I said. So this is a little thing about Cain and his origin, and I just wanted to share with you guys today. I hope you liked this video, and if you did, like and subscribe. That would be good. Thank you. Have a good one.